Hey everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of SuperSoul Boulder. I'm Dr. Lara Johnson from Yellow Brick Physical Therapy here in Boulder, Colorado. And here on SuperSoul Boulder, we talk about everything mind, body, heart, health, and wellness related. As many of you know, I certainly love talking about the body. It's what I've studied most, and I love talking about and thinking about the mind and its influence in all of our lives, but not as often do I talk about that heart piece of the puzzle, right? Hey, that heart piece of the puzzle. So lots of people talk about mind, body. We want to bring that heart piece into. Hey, Carlos, thanks for joining. We want to bring that heart piece in, and a big piece of what makes you, and what makes the heart, what the aspect the heart has to do with things is creativity. And so that's what tonight's topic is. And I've mentioned flexing the creativity muscle because sometimes it takes for those of us, if you're like me and have studied science or been in particular focuses for a long time, we may not see that creativity piece as easily as someone who has been in the world of art and the world of music and all those things. But it's always something that can be a part of your life and your learning and all these things. So even if it's an expression through your work, through coaching, through whatever it is you do, through being a math professor, through being a parent, like there's always a potential for creativity, and it sure can make our lives that much better and more enjoyable and more interesting and more full and more complete, right? More whole. You can be more wholly and fully you if you bring your creative self to the picture, to the puzzle. So what does that even mean? You guys know if you've been watching that I love to take a word and really get underneath it, but because we throw these words around and put them into a box and think we know what it means, and then we miss the whole essence of a treat, for example, by going, oh, I know what it's a treat. So creativity, creation, to me, and you can try this on for yourself, but to me, in my experience, it has come to mean something from nothing, right? Something is created from nothing. So being created is bringing something into the world. For any of my parents out there, if you brought your child into the world, it is a miracle. When I was there for my nephew's birth, it was miraculous, and it's like this life from nothing is being created or formed or unfolding, whatever stages you want to look at that. But something from nothing, there's a momentum, there's a movement to creation, to creative energy. There's a movement, and it can come from your heart. I know the things that I've been moved to do in my life, which is largely related to running and exercise and sports. And I just did running the longest, started a little bit before that, and learning about the body, studying it, understanding it, knowing it. I was really drawn to these things. Things I study now, which are related to psychology and spirituality. I'm really drawn to these things. Hey, Brandon. So you might find that you're drawn to, and that there's a momentum or a movement, but creative energy has that momentum and movement too. Last summer, I found myself, maybe it was because so many things were shut down and I had so many subtractions in my life thanks to COVID. I do mean thanks to COVID. I think there were some great things that came of it, though they may have been challenging. But I found myself sitting and writing and having this movement, this momentum of something coming through me, forth, out into the world from the heart center. Heart center is in your chest, but it's not the physical heart. It's an essential aspect. It's a center. It's essence. It's what is coming from you. That's more inexplicable. It's less easy to explain where this is coming from, but you've got to sit in yourself and in the silence and stillness to see what's here. And I do think this can take place, this way, this creativity can come forth and out into your relationships and your work and your play and all these things. I think it has a lot of play to it. For those of you who are musicians or have studied music or practiced music, like there's you get lost in the flow. It could be anything, whatever it is you might do. That's great. Last weekend I baked a cake, and it was very much creative energy. It was something I hadn't really delved into before for myself, and so finding out what's going to happen. So often we limit ourselves in these areas, in these creative expressions of ourselves. It could be physical activity, it could be music, it could be dance, it could be what you dress like, it could be so many things, and it could be how you create your work in the world, whatever that looks like. We oftentimes can block ourselves from this. I know for me, it can, wanting to be perfect or the best or at a high level can keep me from going in the direction of something that's really fulfilling and really valuable for me or for the people around me. So what is it for you that might stop you or limit you from taking on a new adventure? Maybe it's coloring with markers. Maybe it's going on a trip. Maybe it's all these ways that creative energy can come or move through us. What ways do we limit ourselves? Oh, I can't do that because I need to do it. I won't be good enough, right? Or, what's the point of cooking an elaborate meal if I don't want to cook at 4? But for myself, or my family won't appreciate it. So there are all these ways that we can be creative if we sit with that. And I wanted to bring this up because, like I said, because when we bring not just the body, not just the mind, but the heart aspect, the heart center into what we're doing, we're bringing our full selves more fully, right? It's not just about what's going on in your mind, and it's not just about what's going on in your body. There's something else, isn't there? Is there to you? Is there something else? Is it a passionate feeling? Is it a movement? Is there momentum? What are you drawn toward? And as you're hearing this, let me know how it's landing or what's coming up for you, or later in the comments or whatever that looks like. Let me know you're here. And what it is for you that lands as far as creativity or creative energy, or maybe this feeling of momentum. Something that your heart gets pulled toward. If it's confusing, I may be bringing in a couple different things, but my talks are very creative. I don't sit and plan every single thing I'm going to say. So this in and of itself is allowing creativity to move through me. I don't know what I'm going to say next most of the time. So I think it's actually really interesting. Can you let yourself be interested in what's going to happen? I've been running training lately, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen from this new place so that I'm doing it from. That's very different from how I used to push and press. And this has a lot more lightness and flow and allowing and patience in it. So there's lots of ways that we can experience this. I'm cautious to say like harness or fuel us, because it's plenty to simply experience it and find out what comes of it. Maybe it could be a cake for someone that makes them very happy. It could be all sorts of possibilities. Possibilities are endless. There's so much potential. You have so much potential, and you yourself are a creation, because your life is continually unfolding and being created right in front of you as you're experiencing it. Whether you're engaged in it or aware of it or not, it is happening. And I do think the more that we engage and become aware of what's going on, this is why it's so important to be fully in each moment, because then you might be more aware and engaging in the unfolding of your life, which is creative, right? How creative is your life? And you look back on it, the things that have happened so far, what's yet to come, we just don't really know. So maybe it's possible to say being creative or creation or creativity is a movement, right? Is unfolding, is not knowing what's going to happen next, is finding out and letting yourself be in this process of whatever is going to happen. Because like a painter, takes up the brush and has some skill, but doesn't quite know where it's going to go. A poet doesn't quite know where it's going to go. It's coming through them. And there's so many normal areas of our lives that can be simply, we can simply be with it and know and understand that it is creativity in and of itself happening. And that there's really not as much forcing that needs to be done. However, there is an element of staying with something, of trying, of putting yourself in its way, right? Of doing the writing daily, or allowing space to play, or to practice an instrument, or to learn something new, or to be consistent with exercise. And so while we're on the topic of exercise and the body, that's one thing that I see as very creative and amazing and interesting, and how your body can move and recover and adapt and heal. It's something I've gotten to witness over and over and over again, and something I've been so interested in studying and learning and knowing that when you, even for me, outlets like designing exercise programs and training programs was always a creative outlet for me. So when I see people all the time in the clinic who are struggling with not being able to do the activities that they love, and so I think it's also important, as we're thinking of the being active and healthy and mobile and in our bodies, is one, listening to it, and also getting creative. So if you're struggling at all, or if you come across a struggle at all with not being able to do the things you love to do physically or emotionally or whatever that looks like, especially physically, let's stay on that topic for a second. If you can't do the run you want to do, or you need to be smarter and listen to your body, then it's okay to be a bit creative with it. What else can you do? What other activity have you not tried? Or what other areas of life can you invest some time and attention into, so that you can, be whole and, full and a whole person, not too narrowly focused on one thing. What is it in your life that you can bring more creativity into? What is it in your body and your routine that you can bring more creativity into? Maybe you focus on the same activity all the time, and be really nice to change up and find out what it's like to do something different. Maybe you have a hard time being motivated to work out or exercise, and just allowing a little more creativity could totally be a game changer. Maybe it's way more fun to get up with the sunrise or see the sunset while you're outside, and that gets you out to the door and into nature and into your body and away from technology. Maybe it's a matter of taking up a marker and seeing what happens on a piece of paper. But I do think that it's filling for us as humans to bring something back in. It's easy to be really caught up in the responsibilities and the seriousness and the tasks that we need to do, and not allow ourselves time or space to do things that feel fun or creative or like play. And when we do add these sorts of things into our lives, or even see what is going on, what is happening when we do, what happens in our lives when we allow for more creativity or play or unfolding to occur, or something from nothing, or movement or momentum, whatever that looks like. How much more rich and full your experience may be. How you might notice more ways that this creativity can enter into your normal or even mundane areas of life. And without even anything changing but your perspective or your perception or your relationship to those areas, you may find that it's different, it's changed somehow. So in your upcoming week, see if you can add a little more creativity to the mix. This is really up for me because I've been doing this 12-week workbook called The Artist's Way with a wonderful group here. And as we're 10 weeks into a 12-week commitment, which is a lot. And as you add, what I'm finding is how it's opening up doors in this area, right? This area of fun and play and maybe a little bit of the kid in you. It's really quite healthy and quite wonderful to give yourself some of what your perhaps child self may have wanted. Like your little boy or little girl self, what would they have wanted to do? What would have been fun for them? Maybe give that a consideration and see if in giving yourself that now, or revisiting some of those areas where you have lost touch with, might just open you up that much more, letting you expand into new areas, letting you be more fully you and yourself, and not held back from even these places that are you, that are fun, that are creative. Even if you don't take yourself to be a creative person or an artist, we all are and have the capacity and the potential to be artists and to put a creative spin on anything. It's what allows us to have such a unique, interesting, amazing world, right? So my invitation to you for this week is to flex your creativity muscle. Maybe pick one fun thing to do that you wouldn't usually give yourself time to do. Maybe it's going to a dollar store and picking out star stickers. Maybe it's just drawing a little fun picture. Maybe it's dressing in a way that's really just fun and that you wouldn't normally do for no good reason. But give yourself a moment and some time to do something fun and see what it's like for you to let the creative juices flow. Let yourself flow into this place. Let your heart open to who else you are besides someone who does this job or it has these roles, and is this to your family and friends or whatever that looks like. Let yourself open up your heart to creativity and see what happens, and let me know, because I want to know. Because here on SuperSoul Boulder, we're interested in being courageously healthy, not just physically and not just mentally or emotionally, but also from your heart. And if you're watching this replay, please let me know you're here and what you're taking away from this and how that lands. And if you're like super scared and you're like, oh, I don't have time for that, I got all this stuff to do, it could be the littlest of things. If you have kids, gosh, just go play with them and get interested and be the kid. And see if there are places that are resistant to this, or places that are like, oh, I really want to do something fun. So let me know how it goes. Thank you so much for joining. I love having you here. I can't wait to know what creative endeavors you let yourself try, and let me know how it goes. See you next Monday for another episode of SuperSoul Boulder. I'm Dr. Lara Johnson from Yellow Brick Physical Therapy. Take care and good night. And as always, let me know if there's any place where I can help and converse physically or otherwise. Take care and have a good night.